Warning, the following video contains spoilers for the entirety of Undertale and the first season of Steven Universe. When I was little, I went through a lot of phases where I was obsessed with certain cultures and subcultures on the internet. Many of these could very well make their own videos. Skylanders, Lego Ninjago, Minecraft roleplay channels. But perhaps the absolute weirdest and deepest of rabbit holes the YouTube algorithm thrust me down was Undertale. My second year of middle school was infested with this obsession. I watched comic dubs, read webcomics, browsed wiki articles on AUs, and of course I watched a ton of Let's Plays. Undertale was the first fandom where my interest led me beyond simply watching videos on YouTube. The only reason I ever made a Tumblr account was so I could have my username show up when I got an Ask featured on an Undertale character Ask blog. I remember it happened once, and it absolutely made my week. One of the most interesting tunnels I was led down in my journeys through the Undertale rabbit hole were the Stronger Than You parodies. Yes, that is parodies, plural. These videos were the perfect combination of things to appeal to me when I was little. First, they appeared in the thick of my engagement with Undertale. Undertale became a special interest of mine in around late 2015. The Stronger Than You parodies appealed to my existing special interest in Steven Universe as well. These two elements combined into me absolutely loving these songs and replaying them non-stop. Then, after a while, I lost interest in Undertale. Comics that I loved were concluded or put on indefinite hiatus. In fact, I remember one that somehow did both. I then ended up finding new special interests like Pokemon, and Undertale ended up becoming something I didn't think about very often. Then comes a day in the winter of 2021. I was shooting the shit with a friend of mine in a Discord call. I then shared with him a meme I had found on Twitter of an Enderman dodging arrows with a song that sounded familiar to me.
Veo que te estás cansando de intentarlo, pero tú solo sigues fallando, nunca ganarás, estaré.
When I initially watched the video, I just concluded that it was a cover of Stronger Than You in another language, but my friend had some insight that I didn't. Turns out it's a Spanish dub of the Sans parody of Stronger Than You. He linked me the video, and I watched it. This reignited my interest in Undertale. What followed after we both agreed that we should log off for the night was 2 hours of fervent research into the origins of this Spanish dub and the writing of the first draft of this video. So today, I will share with you all this weird string of occurrences that led to the creation of this Spanish dub. Let's do some internet history. Our story begins with Steven Universe. This series had started in 2013 to mixed reception. The marketing had made the show look frankly unappealing, so a lot of people wound up not watching it. The show took a while to get going, both because it had the first season roughness a lot of shows have, along with the show being a goddamn hiatus machine. Steven Universe then had a surge in popularity in March of 2015 with the release of the first ever Steven Bomb, and the premiere of the episodes The Return and Jailbreak. This is where a lot of elements of Steven Universe that drew fans to the series began to blossom. First, it built upon serialized elements established earlier in the season. Lapis Lazuli came from the mysterious homeworld and left for there at the end of the Mirror Gem and Ocean Gem two-parter. Peridot is a character who was first seen in the episode Warp Tour, and she returned along with Lapis and a new character named Jasper. The first part then concluded with Garnet, the toughest of the crystal gems, getting poofed by Jasper and Steven getting knocked the fuck out! In Jailbreak, Steven is a prisoner on board the ship of the alien invaders, and then meets a gem by the name of Ruby. Steven helps Ruby break out, and then they find Sapphire. Then, when the two reunite, they fuse together and form Garnet. This was huge. This confirmed a massive fan theory. Fans had been speculating on this as far back as the concept of fusion was introduced, with little hints being dropped all throughout Season 1. Some popular points of evidence for this theory include: A, Steven fusing for the first time was the first thing to get a strong reaction out of Garnet, who was a generally stoic character. B, when all the gems unfused from being Alexandrite, you can see two silhouettes morph together into Garnet silhouette. See, Garnet also has two gemstones compared to the singular gems of Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven, which we wouldn't know yet as a dead giveaway because not a lot was explained about gem physiology. The fandom was incredibly invested in this mystery, and the Season 1 finale delivered. This moment was likely one of the main reasons that Steven Universe exploded in popularity around this time. Another of these reasons was a song that followed this moment. Stronger Than You is a fantastic song. Rebecca Sugar is an incredible songwriter, and Estelle's vocal performance is phenomenal. This song in particular is the first point on the timeline of the creation of the video that spawned this essay. In June of 2015, Soren had made an 8-bit cover of Stronger Than You. Tumblr user The Pinkest Pug made parody lyrics for Stronger Than You that were written from the perspective of Sans and the genocide route of Undertale. Then, gym leader Sharon made some art featuring these lyrics depicting a fight between Sans and the player of the genocide route. DJ Smell had then made a video singing these lyrics with the 8-bit cover Stronger Than You as made by Soren as instrumentals and the comic as visuals. This was mixed by Moises and uploaded onto YouTube in October of 2015. Then, in December, Alpha995 made an animation of this song with some added sound effects. The video by DJ Smell was popular. It got around 11 million views, but the animation absolutely blew up, having over 70 million views now. It's so popular, the original only shows up on Google first because Google gave priority to the official version, not because of popularity. I find that hilarious. This video spawned a ton of covers and other parodies made from the perspective of other characters, all throughout different works of fiction. One of note being Milky-chan's version from the perspective of the player in the genocide route, who is represented by Frisk, who is supposedly possessed by Kara. This song was then animated by Clara Keft. It is called the Kara version. While this is a solid song, I kind of blame it for popularizing the idea in the fandom that Kara is evil, and I don't like that idea very much. I could drone on forever about this, but that's a tangent that could and very much should be its own video. Another song of note is one made by Ryuo, who made a version from the perspective of Frisk, the player character who is often associated by the fandom with the pacifist route. This song was made in Korean and then translated to English by Starbeam. This is my personal least favorite of the big three because the translation from Korean makes the lyrics pretty clunky. In fact, poor lyrics are a problem that plague a lot of parodies, but I find it more prevalent in the Undertale parodies for two reasons. First, the lyrics are super clunky in a lot of these songs. A lot of good parody songs strike a balance between fitting the theme of the parody, keeping the flow of the original song, and having sonically pleasing lyrics. A lot of these songs fail at all three. The first one is the one I see most parodies get right, but often this is the only element they do get right. The second problem is that these songs all take themselves way too seriously. A good parody can fail to preserve the flow of the original song and/or make some stretches with the lyrics and work well if the tone is silly. Lyrical stretches in comedy songs are fine, but it ends up leading to a clashing tone when it's not an obvious joke, like in Richer Than You. These issues mix and end up leading to shit like this. And this.
Let's go, let your heart go blacker. Let's go, dirty messy hacker.
Literally every verse in this parody. This is official content from one of the most popular Undertale fanfictions in existence. There are so many parodies that the word vast becomes an understatement. And naturally, they all get featured in mashups, which get famous in their own right. On the topic of mashups, we now get to the Spanish cover of Sans Stronger Than You. The Spanish dub, as I'll be calling it from now on to avoid using tongue twisters to refer to it, is an odd video. On the surface, it looks like a standard fan dub of an animation. This isn't anything out of the ordinary, but the video is actually a mashup. The Dishwasher is a guy who makes a variety of content, with a lot of content related to various fandoms, including many Spanish covers of English songs. They sing the part of Sans in the song, and this seems to have led to Sans being an iconic role for them, with them voicing Sans in a variety of dubs of Undertale animations and some original content. The part where the mashup comes in is very weird. This was a point where I got stumped in the first draft of this video. The video has two separate singers, sort of implying it to be a mashup. Sadly, I had no idea what the other version of the song is because I don't speak Spanish, thus having no clues to narrow it down. But you see, I did that initial stint of research between the hours of 8 and 10 p.m., only staying awake because I refused to take my insomnia medication until I was satisfied with the research I had done. In this haze, I neglected to do the basest of investigative steps on the internet into the Spanish video. I neglected to check the links in the description to see where they led. I am so furious with myself over this blunder. I even checked links in the description of the other videos that I had talked about to research the same project, but I guess my brain cells decided that they had enough work done that day. So it turns out that instead of the many mashups of the Kara version or the Frisk version with Sans, the Spanish dub is a mashup between the Sans version and a fan dub of the original Stronger Than You by an artist named Shizuka. The reason I think this is so odd is because I remember that the most popular mashups back when this trend was out in full force were the mashups between 2 or more of the Undertale versions. Mashups with the original song and other parodies still existed, but they were far less frequent. Also, this dub is advertised as a straight dub of the animation by Alpha 995. No other dubs of this animation are like this. The mashup elements were highly unexpected when I first stumbled across this song. It's also very weird because the way the songs are mashed up is unusual as well when compared to similar mashups. Most mashups start with a couple of verses from one version, then a few from another, and it keeps going back and forth to make it seem like a sort of dialogue, with the occasional 2 lines get sung at the same time. The Spanish dub is very different. Sans sings the first entire minute of the song. Then they begin duetting at the chorus, and after the instrumental portion is over, Garnet sings 2 verses and hands it back to Sans. Then meet at the chorus again, and Garnet sings another verse while the song fades out. I have no idea why the director of the dub did this. I understand the demand for a dub of the animation, but why make it this weird hybrid of a mashup and a fan dub? The portions sung by Sans make up the majority of the runtime by far, so why make it a mashup at all? Funnily enough, this isn't the only Spanish version of Sans Stronger Than You. The voice of Sans in this dub went on to make a solo cover of the song about a year later. I personally like this one a lot better because the unique instrumentation is nice, and I prefer the way the vocals sound here. I also like how the beginning of the song isn't deafened by the instrumentals like the dub. This also led me to look into a lot of other dubs of Sans Stronger Than You, but they all lack the weirdness of the Spanish dub. That said, they're all solid covers of a good song at least. Really, I recommend listening to different versions of the song you like in other languages, mainly because it's a fun exercise and it supports some creators who lovingly made fan dubs of songs like this that can't have an official version in other languages. Also, I was going to conclude here, but when I grabbed a screen cap of this monster of a mashup while explaining this weird-ass subculture of internet content to a friend, I fell down this weird rabbit hole of mashups all made by this user, XLikeandRockX. They made over 150 different mashups in the span of a little over a year. This is an absolutely terrifying level of love for a fandom that I cannot help but admire. I'd love to talk with them, but they haven't uploaded in a year, and their channel links to no other social media accounts. I tried to comment in their comment section, but considering that this part has been left in the video, I'd say it's safe to say that they abandoned the account. So, what was the point of all of this? Best way I can put it is that it's neat how fandoms facilitate creativity, and I wanted to explore that. People just make things because they're passionate about them, and fandom is a great place for passion to flourish. In a fandom, you engage with other people, which helps ideas develop and grow much faster than they do without that. XLikeandRockX is an excellent example of how passion grows in fandoms that lead to people to make things. The different parodies of Stronger Than You all show clear connections to fandoms that are popular and this person likes a lot. In fact, I was part of many of these same fandoms as a kid. If I had access to editing software when I was that age, I would have been right there beside them. As usual, I suck at conclusions, so the outro just kind of starts. Thank you for indulging in this weird-ass rabbit hole that's probably only really interesting to me. I want to thank Saya for advising me on this video script as they did with the Astral Chain script. Also, thanks to Soren for responding to some questions I had about their Stronger Than You 8-bit cover. I also wanted to mention that it is a massive issue with a lot of Undertale songs that people use art in slideshows as visuals without giving credit to the original artists. It's a pretty shitty thing to do to begin with, and it doesn't help that these videos become more widely recognized than the original artist. If you find a really cool piece of art on Google Images that you want to use in your video, find the source for the original artist. If you can find the original artist, then don't use that image. Until next time, I've been Pendergreat, have a wonderful time, and goodbye.